So hello everyone, good morning. So I'll be talking about integrative remote teaching strategies in mathematics. This is part of the webinar and workshop on assessment of the 21st century skills curriculum for newly hired teacher under RA 10612. I'm Darren. I think you know me. I've been part of all the trainings in the different sessions. So I think you are familiar with me already. So there's no need for an introduction already. So let's begin with a check-in. Maybe you can place on the chat box, how are you today? Are you okay or not okay? Maybe let's start with that, no? Are you okay or not okay? Most of us are okay for today, no? So the message here is that it's healthy to admit that you are not okay. It's okay not to be okay. It's brave. Don't let it win. Be sad and have your moment, your day or your week. Then do something about it and be happy. No, just for yourself. It's okay not to be okay. No, it's also nice to cry sometimes. No, just pour out our emotions so that we can be free of it. So for today, there are things that we need to know. It's more on the remote integrative teaching strategies. And to do, I think we have to apply it in the lesson plans that we will be doing. I think that's part of the workshop. And then to feel, maybe we need to feel the need of it right now at the moment, no? Because we just, on the Mondays, we give self-learning modules. And then on Friday, we get the self-learning. So what happens on the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday? So we need to talk about it a little now because we are not bounded already of the four walls of the classroom. That's why the teaching and learning experiences of the students are not really much that we can control. No? There is interdependence on it already. The education sector was greatly affected by the pandemic. However, the situation also gave us opportunities to grow. We are learning to unlearn a lot of things. And we are unlearning a hurried lifestyle full of conveniences and affordances. It is an invitation to learn new things, I guess. And then now reading is a time for being with your kids. No, if you have a family, it's also a sign to be more on the relationship that we have, reignited with them, and be enhanced on the meaning-making process. Writing at that time of the crisis is not only producing knowledge, it's also the means of shaping the truth, justice, and all a more humane approach to documenting and understanding our fears and frustrations. Counting is now in the time of crisis means more of getting what is enough and sharing what you can and dividing all the work of helping everyone to survive. No, it's more on sharing. And there is more to learn and relearn. Looking into this picture, it's for me, it seemed to be my life as a teacher. It's like I'm jumping, no? Because during the pandemic, I was caught off guard of the alternative modalities. No, I'm not ready really of it, no? So it's like me jumping, no, to the future of it. And there are challenges. We have 3 R's of our challenges. One is the readiness. No? Are we ready? Our school, the teachers, the students, and the curriculum. And then the resources, the technologies and infrastructure. And then the rules, no? The policies and guidelines. It's like a coin, no, being tossed, and then it's looking where will it go. It will go the head or the tail. No? Is it a failure or it will be a success? So it's just two-way. So I will be sharing more on the integrative teaching strategies because this is one of those that is known to be useful as of the moment. No? So when we say integrate, it is putting things together. So it's more on the lesson and the real life situation, the lesson and the lesson from other subjects, or the lesson and meaningful activities, or the lesson and their intelligences and learning style. So it's more on integrating the real life situation, other subjects, meaningful activities, and then the styles in teaching and learning. And it paves the way to connecting what is learned in school to real world rather than isolated facts and information. It's more on the actual. Because right now, because right now we are into the pandemic and the students are at home, it's really more on the authentic side of it, no? So the teaching and learning is really brought back to the real life setting. It's not closed in the classroom. So they are in an environment, no, that is not bounded. They are free to move and roam around, no? There are not much rules. And then the objectives of innovative teaching strategies, one is integrative teaching strategies to foster security and satisfaction. And then to promote cooperative learning, also to help develop sense of values, and then to help develop self-direction, and then to foster creativity, and then to provide opportunities for social action, and then to help evaluate learning. And then here are some principles underlying the planning for integrative teaching strategies. So it's one is the development of the whole personality of the learner is more important than the subject matter. The long-range plans and large units should be prepared to daily and isolated tasks. Learning activities should be recognized around real-life problems of the pupils, their needs and interests. Learning should be characterized by group planning, group work, and group assessment. In teaching and learning activities should follow a democratic procedure, and individual differences should be provided for a wide variety of learning experiences. And the atmosphere of the classroom should be permissive and happy. Here are some of the characteristics of the learning experiences for many meaningful integrative activities. One, it should be problem-based. So we can make use now of problem-based learning, or project-based learning. And then contextualize learners' comprehension and scope of experience. And then continuous development, and then cooperatively planned by teachers and students. By the way, we experience fragmented teaching when we study. This is what happens when we study just a part of reality, like when we put all wall to shut science from math, language from values.
To interrupt you.
Yes,
Sir, I
ma'am.
would like to just confirm this. You're recording also, sir, no?
Yes, ma'am. It's recorded.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Sorry.
Okay. So fragmented teaching is what happens when we study just a part of reality, like when we put a wall to shut science from mathematics, language from values, music from civics. So this is what we do when we teach the subjects in isolation. So it's more on disciplinary, math, English, science, something like that. But when we have integrative teaching strategies, we consider also other subjects or other concerns aside from the realm of mathematics. So here is a way of teaching mathematics thematically. This is from Helmani in 2017. Teaching mathematics thematically envisage linking mathematics with the central theme, which emphasizes and comprises mathematical content. For instance, if the central theme is sports, then thematic units could be organized in various content areas, such as percentage, measurement, statistics, or algebra, thus strengthening mathematics content. Therefore, the theme should be included in mathematics curriculum and content in such a way that skills and knowledge would be taught and mastered in accordance with the central theme, thus attaching significance and direction to the educational process. The thematic learning links mathematics with real, existing life situations, and the mathematics content is acquired in a meaningful and practically oriented context. So here, according to Helmani, it is more on like you have a topic on sports, and then you try to connect areas in sports, like you want to get the percent, you want to get the other concepts, like you have measurement and statistics of it, and also a little algebra of it. So maybe you can think of that, especially now that we are into a different modality for a while. Okay, so I'm back. I have here a framework, a thematic approach framework. So you have a theme, and then you consider the theme as the mathematics na kung ano related. Like example kanina is sports. So what is something in the knowledge part of mathematics that we could consider in sports, like the content in percentage? So what are the skills that could be mathematical skills that could be uh, integrated in sports, and what are mathematical attitudes that we could also consider in knowing the sports, something like that. So this is from Helmani, the point of view of Helmani. And then according to Helmani, there are different levels of thematic approach in mathematics. So the first level is you just make use of objects, like any object, article, phenomenon, living, being according to the calendar time from pupils' private and social life, socioeconomic processes, or with a scientific context. So you just start with objects. So you look around, you ask students to look around, and then if they can relate it into mathematics, something like that. The level 2 is more an information and event. So you can consider a real event like COVID-19, and then you try to go over with that, and in what way can we integrate mathematics in its procedure, real life phenomenon about private and social life events, socioeconomic or scientific processes, calendar, and passage of time. So maybe you can have mathematical concepts related to the pandemic. You can ask your students with that. The third level is on the topic. It's a short definition of content, viewing, discussing, and investigating private and social life events, socioeconomic processes, or also with a scientific context, calendar, or passage of time. So now that you go over from object, then you have an event, then the topic. So you can go with what topic that you would like to explore. Now it's anything that is around us that would also interest our learners, and the theme. The last part is the theme. So you look for a theme. It's a general narration as the whole phenomena, ideas, vital issues according to the calendar time about pupils, private and social events, and socioeconomic processes. So now if we want to make a thematic approach in mathematics, we just need to know that the objects that we need, the information and the events that we need to capture or to look into in terms of the student side, and then the topic and also the themes. According to various authors, students' ability to apply mathematics in various contexts in daily life is seen as a core goal of mathematics education. So really, it's more on asa na ko magamit niya akong gitudlo. So dapat ingana siyang atong kuan. Dili nga okay, definition. O ingani pag-solve. Not really like that now. Maybe you can ask them to go around and look at the beauty of the things that they can see and make use of it in the mathematics perspective. Right now I'm watching Melancholia, a Korean drama, and it's really more on mathematics that you can see fractals, you can see the different aspects of mathematics in the different perspectives. Like you can see it in different architecture, you can see it in different designs. So I'm enjoying it right now. Last night I watched the episode 5 and I really loved those. I'm just sharing, And we also have here, in the process of teaching mathematics, it is necessary to change the attitude and opinion that mathematics is complicated, boring, and not related to real life. I think this will be a way for us to make our students realize that mathematics really is connected to the real life. It's more on like that. I think maybe para makakuan po sila nga, para sa nila, sir, so din na, just to maybe arouse more their interest, and then to show to them that this is math, because what we are teaching in the classroom is usually abstract, but with this strategy, I think we can make it more concrete. So therefore, it is necessary to create such mathematics content during the acquisition and link the skills and knowledge obtained in mathematics with the real lifetime situation, as well as such mathematics content during the acquisition, of which pupils' development, trends, needs, and interests will be provided and met. Also, holistic approach to pupils' development would be implemented. One of the existing options how to implement such progress of mathematics content is using thematic approach. That's according to Hillman. According to Handel and Bobbies, in teaching and learning mathematics thematically, instruction is organized around thematic units or projects. Generally speaking, a thematic unit is a collection of learning experiences that assist students to relate their learning to an important question. Themes are the organizers of the mathematical curriculum, and concepts, skills, and strategies are taught around a central theme that is intended to give meaning and direction to the learning process. A study on the perspectives of teachers on teaching mathematics thematically was done by Handel and Bobbies. No, I think they had found out that not much research was done on teaching mathematics thematically, maybe because not much of us are really doing it. And findings from interviews with those who are doing it extended the literature concerning teachers' beliefs and practices in teaching mathematics, and it also broadened understanding of the issues surrounding the implementation of a thematically taught mathematics curriculum. According to Vasquez et al. In 2013, there are different levels of integration. It could be disciplinary, meaning sa isa ka subject, kanang siya math, kani science, kani. But we could also have multidisciplinary. The content is content learned separately but connected through a common theme. So you have a common theme and then the different contents are separated. Or it could be interdisciplinary, the focus on interdisciplinary content and practices from 2 or more disciplines connected to a common theme or a problem. Like math and science will be used to answer this problem. While transdisciplinary is a content of 2 or more disciplines applied to real-life problems. So there is a problem, and then maybe you can make use of engineering, you can make use of mathematics and science as one, no, to solve that problem. To have a clear view of it, because I think this really is, in literature, very confusing. We can have, I think this. So we have here the different types of integration. I talk about disciplinary, multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, and transdisciplinary. So if it's just within the subject area, it's what we call as interdisciplinary, or what I said a while is disciplinary. No? It's on the discipline only, limited to that. But if it is between the subject areas that you can have math, science, English, and other, so it could be interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary. But if it's beyond the subject areas, then it's transdisciplinary. No? Mas taas siyang transdisciplinary. So as you can see here, example, if your theme is water, you can have in mathematics volume, you can have in science water cycle, you can have geography, natural resources. In values education, you can have preservation, and in language, you can composition. I think this is one of the things that is encouraged right now, that as teachers, we can collaborate with other co-teachers to have one theme and then different activities in the different subject areas, just to lessen the bulk of activities that the students are doing. You can just have one summative assessment, and it will be catering all the different subject areas. I know it's hard to do, but maybe we can try. No? Let's just try. Or you can have an interdisciplinary integration, like for the science, mathematics, and MAPI subjects. There will be singing, dancing, painting, and sculpturing activities, something like that. Or you can have this one. You want to design a laser security system to protect the artifacts in traveling museum. So you need to make use of science, engineering, and mathematics. This is transdisciplinary. You want to solve a problem. So here in lesson 1, you teach engineering concepts. Here in lesson 2, it's more on the science concepts. And here in the lesson 5 and 6, you can integrate the concept of angles for mathematics. And then in lesson 7 and 8, it's engineering. I will share a little on this because in transdisciplinary, it's more on now on making new courses. Like for example, we now have immunopharmacology. It's the combination of bacteriology, chemistry, physiology, and other subjects. No, and it's taken as a one course. So if we go internationally, there are a lot of subjects already that are really taken transdisciplinarily or interdisciplinarily or multidisciplinarily. Like right now, I'm enjoying the Transnational Education Scholarship uh, with CHED and the British Council. So I'm currently learning design education in Goldsmiths University of London, and I'm enrolled in the Department of Design. So it's a new world for me because I'm in the College of Education supposedly, but why I'm in the Department of Design? Because there we are looking into design, but our perspective is into the education side. So we have that, and then our subjects is not really more on the education, but it's more on the design but linked to education. So we have a lot of activities looking into the education side, but we are into the design thing, or something like that. So aside from the thematic way of dealing with things, we are into the inquiry-based mathematics teaching also. So aside from the thematic way, we could also have the inquiry-based. So it's also an integrative way of doing it remotely right now. So inquiry-based mathematics education refers to a student-centered paradigm of teaching mathematics and science in which students are invited to work in ways similar to how mathematicians and scientists work. This means they have to observe phenomena, ask questions, look for mathematical and scientific ways of how to answer these questions, like carry out experiments, systematically controlling variables, drawing diagrams, calculating, looking for patterns and relationships, making conjectures and generalizations, interpret, evaluate their solutions, and communicate and discuss their solutions effectively. But there are essential ingredients that is necessary in an inquiry-based education. So there should be a class. I think this is more on a face-to-face, no? But there should be a sense of purpose. There should be ownership, no? The question should be open, multiple solution strategies, and then students will be asked to pose questions, to inquire, to collaborate, to inquire, to prepare for uncertain future and lifelong learning, no, in terms of the values and understanding the nature and of science and mathematics, and also teacher guidance, no, the values and builds upon students' reasoning and scaffolding. According to Wu and Lin, they have here a model of inquiry-based curriculum and instruction in mathematics. So you can arrange the learning environment as a teacher, and then you observe the children's learning activities, and then usually imitating the inquiry, and then organizing the inquiry, determining the priority of the inquiry, concluding problem-solving strategy, reviewing problem-solving strategy, executing problem-solving strategy, and then classifying cognitive behaviors, providing cognitive learning conflicts, expressing and sharing ideas, reaching a common view, and reflecting and summarizing the learning process. I think this is very complicated, but we can summarize it, no, in our end. I think we can just make use of the 5 E's instructional model, which is inquiry-based, the engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate thing. No, I think we can just make use of this because we are doing already lessons in the 5 E's, no, in the mathematics. So I think we are doing it already, but we just need to maybe update more. So based on the illustration that I had given, you can just look into those areas, into the different 5E's, like the constructing learning context can be in the engagement part, the observing cognitive behaviors can be in the explanation, and so on. So I have here the things that a teacher should be doing in the different levels. Like in the engage part, you can motivate the learners, and you can also ask their input. You can hook them into the content, and then you can connect them to the prior knowledge, and then create emotional connection, raise questions, and encourage response. And then explore. You facilitate the learning. No? You incorporate strategies for all learning styles. You observe and listen as they interact. You ask probing questions. You redirect the students when needed and encourage cooperative learning. And in the explain part, I think you encourage the students to explain concepts and definitions in their own words, and use students' previous experiences as basis for explaining concepts. And then elaborate, you use previously learned information as a vehicle to enhance additional learning, and then to encourage the students to apply or extend the concepts and skills in new situations, and then encourage students to use new terms and definitions. Also, in the evaluate part, you can assess students' knowledge or skills. You look for evidence that the students have changed their thinking and behavior. And also, you can encourage students to assess their own learning and then ask open-ended questions. We can also make use of the design thinking process, no, in maybe we can incorporate this in the project-based or the problem-based activities that we are giving, because right now we are encouraged to do project-based assessment tasks and also problem-based. So we can do this, like we can ask them to empathize. They are asked to interview, shadowing, understand, and non-judgmental. This is more on knowing what really the problem is, and then to define, they are to make objectives, no, what really is the thing that they want to solve, something like that. To ideate, they will be gathering ideas, concepts on how to solve those problems that they have in their defined space. And prototype, to make something out of those ideas, like they will be building something, no? And then to test, they will implement the thing, the prototype that they have, no? If it's problem solving, then the empathize is more on knowing more on about the problem, and then defining is what really is the problem, ideating is how to solve the problem, prototyping is making solutions, and then testing is more on checking if the solution is correct or not, something like that. But we could also make use of the inquiry, like we just give a question, ask for evidences, let them explain, make connections out of it, and then communicate it. So you can just ask them to present their output. Something like that. I think this could also be a better one, because now we just don't want to complicate things, no? We just want it to be easy and simple, and as much as possible, we can have a lesser screen time, because it's not good that from 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. up to the 9 a.m. we are 9 p.m. we are in the computer. Now that's really the life that we are having, especially that is virtual. So maybe you can, as in mathematics, as a start, you can just give a question and then ask students for evidences how they answer that, and then ask them to explain. And then you can also look into connections, like they can go to other subject areas, like in physics, like also in other stuff. And you can also ask them to communicate, no? And maybe a presentation will do at the end, or you can ask them to make a proposal or something, or a concept. Later in the activity in the afternoon, you will be asked to connect the learning competencies, and you make an authentic assessment task, later a performance task. You will be making use of the GRASS model. So I would like to share this. So when you say GRASS model, it's the G is the goal, the R is the role, the A is the audience, the S is the situation, the P is the product or the performance or the purpose, and the S is the standards and criteria for success. So when you have the goal, you may be, you can place there, your task is, the student's task is, the goal is, the problem is, the obstacle is. This is also one way of doing integrative teaching strategies. No? You can ask this to your students. And role, you are, what is your role? You have been asked to, your job is. And then audience, your client is, your target audience is, you need to convince is, and then the situation, the context you find yourself is in, and then the challenge involves dealing with, and then the product, performance, and purpose you will create, and then in order to, and then you need to develop something, and standards and criteria for success, your performance needs, your work will be judged by, then your product must meet the following standards and a successful result, something like that. So later you will be looking into the melts, and then you will try to make an authentic performance task, and then you need to incorporate what is the goal of that task, what is your role into that, or the student's role, the audience. But I think there will be someone who is assigned to discuss it a little. But this model is with Wiggins and McTighe, and it will be great in constructing the performance task that we have. So this is our model in traditional class. No, usually before the class we have an assignment, and then we are asked to read something. Then during the class we attend a lecture, no, or there is a discussion. Then after the class we are asked to do a homework. So this is the usual that we have before, but this is not done now. We are more encouraging on the flipped classroom, but this will be if there will be a limited face-to-face later on. This could be done, no? I think that Ed is having a limited face-to-face now, so that's why we are gearing towards the flipped classroom, just to lessen the face-to-face time, no? So before, it's more of the out of the class, so students prepare and participate in class activities. So pwede na ay mga videos na gihatag si teacher, pwede po nag-synchronous teaching and learning si ma'am online, something like that. And then during, it's just that you can have group activity, or the teacher will check something about what you learned. No, you apply the things that you learned before, and then after, it's still the checking of the understanding, and then to extend the learning, you will be given assignments, something like that. So this is more on the flipped classroom. So you can have at home activity, and then in school activity, at home activity, in school activity. So it's flipped. It's not purely more on school na lang yung tanan. It's there's a balance on the home and the school activities now. So I think let's end it with a checkout, because we will be having an activity later, but I just want to end with this one, and then I'll be more on the insights. So what remote learners need, maybe you can key in the chat box. What really our learners need as of the moment that they are remote to us. I think I have here some also in addition to what you have. So as teachers, we need to have this for our learners remotely, no? The standard. So we need to be clear on what really they need to know and do, no? And then fillers for gaps and deficiencies that they have, like they don't have internet, they don't have something, so maybe we can give them supplemental materials because they also have difficulty in accessing information. Let's also give them hope and aspirations, no, for them to make sense of the purpose that they have. Why I'm still learning even though this is a pandemic time? Ano mag-eskwela pa mo gud gyapon ko, no? Nga pandemic man, something like that. Maybe you can maybe you can go over with their purpose in coming to class before, no? And then passion to pursue so that they are kept motivated and engage. So something like that. So you could also look into their passion, and then metrics. You need to give them feedback really, no, on the things that they are doing. There's really a need. So I think the home visitation is a good activity for that, and also the things that we do, like we call them, we chat them, no, to know their progress. I think those are the things. I think this is from Dr. Fermin, no. So as of the moment, I think in everything that I had said in the integrative teaching and learning, you can see really that it's really more on the learning outcome, and then you consider the content based on that, and then the experience of the learners, and you can have it using integrative teaching strategies. kay kanila magid siya ang pinakakuan nga na kay learning outcome, unsa ang content, based ana nga outcome, then ang sa nga experience nga imong gusto nga ma-experience sa mga bata. I hope we are able to navigate with our frustrations, our failures and frailty, our weaknesses. As teachers also, I think it's not really the students nga atong tan-awon karon. We also look at ourselves as teachers, no? We really tend to be frustrated. We really feel failures, and there are some weaknesses that we are experiencing right now, no? But at the end of the day, we just navigate with it. Anyway, it just pass, no? It will pass, more like something like that. And then I hope we can break the chain of, no, we can break that chain of hopelessness so that we can have success, no? I hope I was able to share, I was able to give you my take on that, because I made this one. This is not that lengthy because I want to be talking to you after this, but I think others are really not, no, maybe they are doing other things also. So this is the challenge. Maybe later you think of a lesson if you already have a time in mathematics and design a way to deliver it remotely to the learners through integrative teaching strategies.